Hi everyone, it's Diane. Welcome. I hope everybody's doing great. We're back today to make another Halloween card. As promised, we're only going to do a few Halloween cards here this year, and then we're going to get into Thanksgiving stuff. So I think probably today, well, this is Sunday afternoon for me, but Monday's card, and possibly Friday we'll do Halloween, and then we're going to start getting into some Thanksgiving stuff. Because as I said, I didn't get any of the new Halloween products from Stampin' Up. So what I'm using are items that I already had, and that's kind of like the name of our game anyway. Use what you have if you can. So, how's everybody doing? Hope you had a great weekend. It's a little rainy here for us right now, and again, I'm not complaining because we can use that. I was just trying to see. I do have some of the new Thanksgiving and Christmas sets, so we'll start with those pretty soon. So in the meantime, what I've done, I have taken, and I already did do some of the die cutting, so that we don't have to fidget so much with the die cutting machine. Out of silver foil sheets. And if you remember during Celebration, I told you those foil sheets were going to come in handy because the holidays were coming. And here I am already, Halloween, and I'm already hitting the shinies and the glitteries. Yes, so I had some old silver glimmer paper. So any kind of glitter paper that you have, if you have silver or white or even black, that would work well. I even considered, I still had some of this rainbow glimmer paper, and actually that blue and purple one still is very interesting for me. I did have black glimmer paper, but I didn't want to make the entire card black. So I chose the silver. I used our split card texture dies. We've used this a couple of times, and I was thinking later this one might be pretty too. This one might look a little bit more webby. I don't know. I mean, I know this isn't a spider web. It's just supposed to give the illusion of being spidery. So I cut that out of the silver. If all of the pieces didn't come out, I didn't really care because I saved them all anyway. Like on this card, I put some of them back in randomly just for interest. So if they didn't all come out, don't worry about it. Just let it go. The die cuts out all of the little rectangles and squares, but it leaves the edge there so that you could cut this on your 4 by 5 1/4 inch sheet of cardstock and then have a full piece down here to add your greeting. And so what I did was just took a pair of scissors, a little pair of snips, and I just kind of fussy cut this little piece out because I did not want to fill in the whole card front with silver. I just wanted this little grid section to be foiled and shimmery and glimmery. And there, that's what I ended up with. Saving my glimmer paper. Saving my glimmer. So how's it feel having kids back to school and some time on your hands maybe? Do a little crafting? Yeah. And then I have a piece of basic black cardstock, which is, of course, half of a sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper that I have cut in half and then scored and folded so that we have a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch basic card base. I think that's A2 size. And I took another piece of basic black, and this is cut to 4 by 5¼ inches. And I ran that through the Timber 3D embossing folder. And I don't know if you can see the little wood grain embossed lines in here, but we're gonna accent that a little bit. I have my Whisper White stamp pad, which you're probably all familiar that that's a pigment ink. So I was looking for a piece of scrap paper. I forgot I had to. I'm going to go off the edges here. So this takes, a couple minutes to dry. So let's get this done first so that we can set that aside and it can dry while we carry on. I'm just using an old makeup sponge because, well, it was a new one, because I didn't have a blending brush to use for white, and I didn't want to mix any of my colored blending brushes in my white ink pad. So I just pulled out one of these makeup sponges and it did the job just fine. And I just ran over that embossed panel. And it kind of lifts up the ridges on that embossing, and you can see our wood grain a little bit nicer now. Pretty cool. So let's just set this aside to dry for a couple minutes. Make sure I don't have weight on my fingers. I was just watching out there when I was getting ready. Oh, because it's raining probably. Our cedar waxwings are back. And I kind of wondered because we have a couple choke cherry trees in our backyard, and every year the cedar waxwings will come, eat all of the fruit off the tree, and then leave. And they weren't here, and our other birds and the chipmunks were just loving it. But I noticed today the waxwings were here. And I don't know if they're in hiding now because of the rain. I don't think they ate all the cherries, although it's looking a little bare. So, oh, can't do that yet. What am I thinking? Oh, I know. And then we have to cut a black spider. I used this little spider. And this is out of little treat box dies. I kind of wanted to incorporate that circle too, but just hadn't figured out a way to do it. So anyways, cut the little spider out. There's also a spider in Halloween Magic dies. That's a pretty nice size spider. And that was with the Hallows Night Magic set. So you can always stamp this, or you can just die cut it out of black as I did. There's also another one in the Wicked set. But that spider is really tiny. He's only that big. That one does not coordinate. I want to make sure I made that clear. Out of the Wonderfully Wicked, this is a different spider. It doesn't die cut this image. But I did use this image in the spider web on my inside. And my little message, Happy Halloween. So that came from Wonderfully Wicked. Well, I need to keep these separated because this is the stuff that I did use, and I want to put it in my description box. So if you have any of these little spider dies, any of them will work. I also looked at this little guy. I was going to put him from that web, but I want to use my silver paper. All right, so we're using Wonderfully Wicked, the little dies, the Timber 3D embossing folder. Now we need to cut out our EEK. And you could cut out boo, squeal, yikes, whatever. I use Playful alphabet dies, just because I liked this font. And also there are 2 E's and 2 O's in here, making it much easier to cut them out. But I also had hand letter prose dies. I didn't want them to be that big. I don't know, maybe if I did boo, I might want to. I don't know. Maybe I'll do another one and try it with the purple. So anyways, I did use the Playful alphabets. And I cut those out of the silver foil paper. And I also cut them out 2 more times just from regular cardstock. And then I layered them together just to give them a little bit of thickness. They're almost chipboard strength now. So they will stand up a little bit more on our card. Just again for some interest and dimension. Okay, let's take our little panel with our tree bark. And I'm going to use my fine tip glue go around our little glitter foil split window die cut. What else can I add in there? And anywhere that my blocks didn't pop out when I was taking my die off, I'm just going to add some extra glue back there. That'll help hold it securely to our card base. Like I said, depending on how this looks, we might just go back and add a few more pieces. Yeah, so hubby and I had to go do our Sam's Club shopping today, and you can definitely tell the weather is changing. It's kind of exciting but depressing. You know, I like this time of year, but I am just not ready for summer to be done. And then I'm lining this up on the bottom of my panel, keeping my border even with the card panel as much as I can. We'll slide, there you go. A little more, slide a little bit more. Yeah, so it's exciting that this pretty time of the year is starting, but sad because I don't want summer to be done. It just doesn't last long enough. I guess the problem is that it's too long in between, you know. We're not going to get to see all those beautiful sunny days of summer again until maybe July-ish, maybe June. Depends next year. But anyway, let's see. I don't know, I might be able to use one more up in here. And you should know when you die cut these out, they are not all the same size. So if you're going to do this and put some of them back in, might want to test it first and make sure you have one of the pieces that will fit. I think I want them beside it. Fit. Yes. And then just add a little bit of glue underneath and put your paper insert back in. And this doesn't have to be foil paper. You can use glitter paper. You can use any color cardstock. You know, if you're making this and you want to use orange, use orange. But I do like the randomness, say that, of the die pieces that didn't pop out. So I just embrace those. Okay, I'm going to glue this to my card base, and I had added my EEK on my original card after I did my spider. So I didn't know if I wanted it to go across the bottom or down the side. I decided I didn't see it very well. It didn't stand out so much on the glitter paper, so I placed it down the side instead. And my spider and my little dots were already on here. So we're going to do the lettering first That way I'll be able to fit my spider in between the die cut letters. I do want to use liquid glue on the back of this panel because of the embossing, and also because we added that ink to it. It actually curled up a little bit, so I'm going to use liquid glue and make sure I have this really affixed to my card panel. My card base, sorry. My panel to my base. Panel to my base. So what's everybody working on for your autumn decor? I've seen some houses that are already all decked out for Halloween. I've started taking some of my summer stuff down, but I haven't really put up any Halloween stuff yet. Just not quite ready for it. But I did take my summer pillows in off of the patio and front porch. Okay. Because now I think when I do my greeting, I think I want my words, my letters to be up a little higher. Which will mean I need to put my spider down a little further or over this way. I did not like everything all clustered up at the top there on this one. So let's do that. Start up here. No idea why I'm hoarse. I wasn't this morning. I noticed in the car on the way back from the store when Hubs asked me something and I went to answer him, I had to clear my throat. I was like, oh, here we go again. Why? Why? Don't forget, those of you who are close and interested in joining us for our card making workshop in person, that'll be the 27th. I do have my one card designed for that. I have to come up with a couple more and start getting stuff cut out here. Okay, now I can decide where to put my spider. Come down a little further this way now. Yes. And I'm going to use, actually I'm going to use a mini. I think the mini one would have been better than the large size. Excuse me while I grab out. Dots and stickers and dimensionals and everything, huh? So we're going to use a mini black glue dot on the back of the spider. Of course, if you're using one of the other die cut spiders, they may have a larger body and you could use a full size one. And then we need something, we need a little string of pearls here for our spider to be crawling down the outside of our card. So let's save these and maybe we'll have them for New Year's Eve. Actually, I just threw a whole bunch of colorful ones out from other dies that leave a lot of little pieces. I'd save them in a jar. I finally just threw them away. So for my little string of pearls, I'm going to use Pearlized Enamel Effects Basics Black. My original card, I think I made my pearls just a little too big, And you can see when these dry, they turn into just little tiny pearls, but we're going to drop them right onto our cardstock. They do need to dry for a while. So you're going to want to set it aside someplace where you're not going to stick your hand in it, because the first time I used them, that's what I did. And then we're just going to make little dots. And I'm just using a ruler to help me, because I'm afraid I would have a curvy line. I do have a curvy line anyway. And there's our little pearls for our spider to crawl back up and get inside the card. I can't glue my inside on here because these are wet. I'm going to set this up here to dry, and we'll get out just a piece of basic white, 4 by 5 1/4 inch panel. And I don't know why, I'm really liking my Stamparatus lately, so I'm just going to use my Stamparatus. I already have it set up with a little spider web and spider and Happy Halloween. I'm going to ink that, and I'm using VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. I like a nice solid black stamp, and this one really does work well. I have my Memento black ink, but I just like the black on this. I think it's a lot crisper. Let's see. That's what we're doing. And put all these little babies back away so I don't lose them. One thing about the VersaFine Clair ink is that it does take a minute to dry. It is a little bit of a wet ink, so don't go grabbing your card panel, sticking your thumb right in there. And so that'll be ready to go in my card when my little pearls are dry. And that's it. That is today's easy peasy Halloween card. Hope you like it. I hope you have some stamps and dies that you can use to create something like this. Just keeping it simple but fun. You know. Oh, I did want to show you. After I stamped my inside, because this little spider needs something to climb up also, I just used my ruler, draw it off, and a fine tip black pen. This one is, this is Tombow, and it is, I don't know what size. You know, usually they say like 0.08 or something. This one doesn't. So I can't really tell you what it is, but I just do a very light-handed line down to the spider. And that's our spooky little guy. Not too spooky. Well, you guys have a wonderful week. Stop back Friday, and we'll probably wrap up our Halloween cards, and then we'll start getting on being thankful and grateful. Thanks for being with me. Bye.